Welcome to Scorched Earth and the general mid-month reading for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of September. I hope you are well. As you may be able to tell, I am not quite as tip-top as usual. Actually iller than I've been in years and years and years last week. And so I'm at various stages of recovery throughout the videos. I'm going to try not to cough on you too much, so sorry about that. So forgive me if I kind of stumble and whatnot. Anyway, I am getting better, and that's the important thing. Immune systems for the win. Right, what do I have to tell you? These are different to the main monthly readings in so much as we are looking for the lesson. It's very specific. I think that there is wisdom, or a lesson, if you will, contained within every experience that we have. And sometimes it can be difficult to see what that is, and when we get bogged down with day-to-day things. And so what we do here is pull some cards, see where you are energetically right now, and then we'll pull 3 cards to see why you're in this energy, right? Sometimes it's trying to show you something about yourself. Sometimes it's trying to show you something about the situation that you're in. Sometimes it's trying to clear the way for new things to come in. We won't know until the cards hit the table. And we'll close out with 3 cards of advice. I hope that makes sense. It just makes it easier to navigate what can be occasionally, pretty challenging energies. It's an exercise in perspective. So that's what we're going to do. I hope that all made sense. But also I have to tell you, the 6-month overviews that I did in July, we're now a third of the way through that period, so I've actually reduced the cost of them accordingly, so they're down by a third now. If you're interested in that, the link is in the description box. Just go and help yourself to that. And I would really like everybody to hear the messages that are in them, so go for it. Right, let's get 3 cards for Libra's energy right now, please. Libra right now. There's the first card. We have the 10 of Swords. I have the 2 of Swords, which has come out in it's come out in a sideways presentation. It doesn't seem to know what it thinks about itself. So we have the Chariot, right? So we've got the Father of Swords at the bottom of the deck here. It's Aquarius energy. And it's often a card that speaks to a great deal of mental acuity, right? Ability to be able to express what you think quite well, but equally knowing what it is that you think in the first place, right? It's quite an intellectually commanding position. Now, it is your king, because obviously you're an air sign, and so is Aquarius. But I'm struck by the amount of swords that are on here, because I actually don't feel like you want them very much, Libra. For all air signs are blessed with, incredible mental energy. But I feel something quite about this. I can't really put it any better than that. You just don't really want it. Now, the 10 of Swords energy is challenging. It is painful. We can understand why you would want to put some distance between that and yourself there. But this 2 of Swords did not come up in the reverse or the upright. It kind of equivocated and put itself like this way around, and it's like, is there a decision to be made? Yes. Are there things to be looked at, or are there things that you're ignoring? Yes, possibly. But this seems more important to me at this point than this does, because it seems to be the way that you are approaching this situation at the moment. What do you think about the situation? Do you even think anything about this situation, or are you stopping yourself from doing so? Sometimes with cards that are number 2, we can see them as being a kind of like sandwich filling of the cards that sit either side, and it can be like an either-or sort of situation, particularly when it comes down to decision making. But this seems to be more about the act of making decisions than what it is that you're looking to choose at the moment. And it seems to me like you are actually trying to actively avoid viewing this in terms of a decision. This last card here we've got is the Chariot. It's a powerful card of the self. And I like it very much because the standard depiction of the Chariot has, you know, a charioteer and then two sphinxes that are pulling the chariot along, and it falls to the charioteer to be able to come, you know, bring these two beasts into a state of alignment so that they can go in a straight line. If he doesn't do that, then they're going to deviate off somewhere and the whole chariot's going to fall over, you know. But in the wild unknown, which is what we're using here for you today, we have charioteer and beasts all kind of in one archetype right there, right? The horse has got the power of the beasts, right? That's the one that's driving things along. But the horse also gets to decide where it goes, you know? This horse is free. Is this horse free? This horse is free, but there's a really strong sense of duty and responsibility that's coming through here. Almost like you're free to make your own decisions, but there are consequences of making those decisions that you possibly are trying to avoid at this point. I think that's why this is, it's not committing itself to an upright or reverse, is because you don't really want to even think about it in those terms at the moment, because if you do, what would inexorably follow would be the fact that you then need to take a course of action for which there will be consequences, and those consequences are not something that you are particularly comfortable with at the moment. The thing is, with the preceding card being the Ten of Swords, it speaks to a finality of this situation anyway, right? It's almost like you can't, even should you choose to, this situation can't percolate along on its own anymore. It's come to an end of sorts. And whatever happens, it will require dealing with. I just don't think that I see you currently wanting to entertain a mindset that deals with that. And we've got the Three of Swords sat behind the King of Swords there. Now they're two really very difficult cards there, Three of Swords and the Ten of Swords. So I can see why you're sort of prevaricating. Excuse me, my fucking respiratory system giving up. Right, that's quite a challenging energy. Let's have a look and see why you are there at the moment. Why is Libra in this energy right now, please? What do we have here? We have the Eight of Pentacles and the Fool. We have Temperance and the High Priestess as well. I have one more card for Libra, please. Thank you. And we have the Hierophant. That is all but one major arcana with you here at the bottom of the deck, Libra. This is important. Oh, fuck, the Hermit and the World are behind there as well. There's definitely a sense of something having come to completion, but it's not finished yet. It's not properly finished, because there is an action that you must take in order to bring that close, that completion around. I've started drinking pine needle tea, by the way, and if you've not tried it before, I think it's magic. I actually think it's real magic. I've not drunk a cup of coffee in 6 days, and I don't need to. I'm drinking pine needle tea. Anywho, the reason that you are in this energy at the moment is interesting, because, like I said, we've got this Eight of Pentacles and this Fool, and it's the message that is presenting here very clearly is that the new cycle cannot start until you put some effort into it. Right now, lots of people view endings and beginnings as too discrete actions or behaviors or whatever, but I don't think that they are. I think that they're kind of one and the same, and whether it's an ending or a beginning literally just depends on where you're looking at it, but they're kind of mashed up together, There is something which, by nature of the fact that it's minor arcana, means it's more of a minor situation that is ending here, but it is in some ways reflecting a bigger ending that is going on within you. Now, because my readings always focus on you, on the individual, I can see here that there's some sort of leap that is being required of you personally to deal with this. Well, coming back to these here, we've got the Justice card, which is the card of Libra there, but it is also a card of consequences, and that's the second time that word has come up here, right? I always think these two cards look incredibly judgmental in this deck. I don't know why. Usually the Justice card fills me with a yes sort of feeling, but these ones are... It feels more like a taking responsibility for kind of justice energy here, consequences of the actions. And the thing is, I do feel like you strongly intuited these consequences, and they're not, you don't really want them, not at this point. I think there's an inevitability about it, almost, that you also intuit. But it's almost like the inevitability of it is the thing that actually stops you from needing to make the decision about it, because it's going to happen at some point. It's just going to happen. Shut this fucking window. But it requires you to go within and do something to bring this cycle to a proper sense of finality. Major Arcana, Major Arcana, Major Arcana. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 on the table here. Major Arcana 2. This is a big month. There's a lot of things closing out for you here. But I do feel like you're being asked to be quite brave. Well, what it is that you're doing. It's not fear that I'm feeling off you here, Libra, at all. It isn't fear. It's apprehension. But it's weariness almost more than anything else. Oh, what? Well, that's odd. I just heard that some of you are walking towards something that will be very, very successful, and for, whatever that is, it will be different for each of you. But you're almost afraid to claim it, because claiming it requires you to decide to leave something else behind. Like, if you want this new start in the most glorious way that it can happen, then you have to put the work into it, Libra, and the work is not without, it's within. Here is something that seems to be stopping you from embracing something that is good and new and coming towards you, and releasing something that is actually no longer for you. It's like, rather than the consequences being like you're going to get the karmic shit kicked out of you because you did something bad at some point, it actually feels different to that. It feels like you accepting this good thing that comes in is a thing that you are not comfortable with. Now, whether that comes down to your confidence or your self-worth or whatever, this is something that is worth sitting with in this couple of week period, because you are being asked to heal it. Both of these cards talk about alignment, right? They're usually both depicted as it's really quite symmetrical looking cards. The Temperance is the healing. There's also echoes of divine guidance and divine orchestration at play, and that would certainly fit with the inevitability that I feel for this. But I do feel like you're being asked to guard against a certain level of energetic mediocrity Libra. It's like if you let things peter out and you let things peter in, it's not nearly as powerful as if you take charge of this situation and you make the decisions that need to be made and you face the reasons why it is that you're finding it so difficult to accept this new shiny things. Like, it's pointing to something that requires healing in you. I mean, does it come down to the fact that you're ignoring your intuition, Libra, because it's inconvenient? There's something that your intuition is telling you that is inconvenient to you at this time with the mindset that you have. It does rather feel like that. Oh, there you are at the bottom of the deck as well. Tell me about the High Priestess, please. Page of Swords. Things are changing and things are going to change for the better, and I do feel like on an intuitive level you do understand that, but there is some resistance here that you're being asked to work on in this last 2 weeks to improve the situation that you're in. There's a set of thought patterns that are holding you back at this moment in time. It's like your intuition is going one way, but your sense of self-worth or your sense of consequences, there's some guilt here, Libra. I don't understand where the guilt is coming from. And weariness, and like the only fear is the fear of trusting something like this. There's a big gap here somewhere between your intuition and what it is that you actually know. And it's almost verging on self-sabotage, Libra. This definitely needs looking at. Tell me about this Hierophant, please. Thank you. Knight of Cups. Because you're actually being asked to commit to a more compassionate way of seeing yourself, but a more compassionate way of judging the situation. This is a very odd reading, Libra. Very odd. But, you know, as ever, this all boils down to you and the way that you choose to approach this. Because I kind of feel like you're kind of scuttling alongside something, some sort of decision that needs to be made that you're not entirely comfortable with doing at the moment. And ultimately, this will set you up better for the next cycle. If you don't sabotage it. And you are, for some reason, I don't understand. Right. I've got the Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck, and the two cards that are following it directly after are the Four of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. Like, these are really, really good cards. These are certainly the new that I can feel swirling around you here, but like, why are you fighting it off, Libra? What is it that you're being asked to release that you're not comfortable to do? Or what are you being asked to embrace that is causing such conflict in your mind that you would choose to kind of not choose, you know? Very interesting. Right, let's get you some cards of advice. I have 3 cards of advice. Please. So we have the Four of Swords, we have the Ace of Wands. We have the Eight of Cups in reverse, which is interesting because you are being asked to move on from something, but in the first instance you need to go back and meditate on something, whatever the situation is for you. because the answers are there. The answers are coming. Remember that at the bottom of the deck there was in between, in between the Justice card and the World card, we had the Hermit. There's nobody who can answer this for you. It's almost like you've got to go and have a look for it yourself. But you need to do it with that fine mind of yours. You need to do it a little bit more objectively than you have been doing. You know, where this discomfort is, because I do feel you very uncomfortable about something. Like, you need to go and interrogate that and find out why it is making you uncomfortable. And that's very clear. You need to go back before you can go forwards, because there is something about the mindset that you are rocking right now that is stopping you from embracing what looks to be really rather beautiful energy here of the creation of new things, you know. That's really quite intriguing, Libra. But I'm going to leave it with you anyway, because I'm going to try and keep these nice and short so I can actually get through them all. Yeah. No, I love you all very, very much. And I will see you soon.